Hi everyone, it's Bethany. Welcome back to my channel. In this video, I'm going to share how I decorated my iPad case with adhesive vinyl. I love how it turned out. This is probably one of my favorite things that I have decorated with vinyl. It is so fun. I have wanted to decorate my iPad for so long now, but I am such an overthinker and it took me forever to decide on a design. So when I saw this design and it presented itself to me, I knew that this was perfect for the back of my iPad, and I knew that I had to put it on my little case here. So I'm also going to show you my thought process for how I got around cutting out areas that you don't want to cover with vinyl. So there's a little opening right here and up the top, and then I believe there was an opening around the side that I wanted to steer clear of, one of the sides at least. So I'll show you how I used a little parchment paper method to help me just line up everything to make sure that I did not cover anything that I did not want to block with a vinyl. So ever since I've gotten my Cricut, I have honestly felt like I just have to vinyl everything or decorate everything. It's like have Cricut, must decorate all the things, must put vinyl on all the things. But it's so fun and it definitely holds true and it creates some really fun projects. So I've been wanting to do this for a while again, and I think it turned out really fun. So if you've been wanting to try this, I'll show you my thought process for how to get it all ready in Design Space, and then I'll also show you where I found this file because it's so fun and I think it turned out really great. Okay, let's go ahead and jump into Design Space and get started, and then be sure to check out the description box below the video because I will share all of the materials that I'm using in this video in case you want to take a closer look at anything. All right, let's go ahead and get started with this craft. Okay, so to decorate my iPad, I found this on Design Bundles. I believe it was in their free designs section. I'll do my best to link it in the description box below this video to where you can find it. But I loved this. I have been going back and forth for just about over a year on what I want to put on the back of my iPad. I know that that seems like a long time to overthink something, but I'm a professional overthinker and it took me forever to figure out what I wanted to do for my iPad case. So when I saw this, I just knew I had to do it. So I love this. What I need to do simply now is I just have to size it for my iPad case. So my iPad case is about 6.5 by 9.5 inches, and it's just shy of those dimensions. So I will probably unlock this and I will make sure I get just shy of 6.5. So maybe 6.4 by 9.4. Okay, and just for good measure, I'm going to go just a tad smaller just because it's easier to have it a little smaller than a little bigger. So maybe 6.3 by 9.3. Okay, so I think that that will work. And now what I'm going to do is use my Explore Air 2 to cut this out. So I have it selected right up here. And then I'll say make it. I'll cut this out of white vinyl, but since I'm only installing one mat into my machine, I don't need to make any color corrections. So I'll just leave it as black and then load whatever color I'd like. Then I can go ahead and say continue, and then I'll use the setting premium vinyl for my cut setting. Okay, so using the premium vinyl cut setting, there we go, and then I'll load my mat and cut this out. Okay, so I am going to place some Oracle 651 permanent vinyl onto my mat. Please excuse my little gold strips on my mat. This was when I was learning how to use the new foil strips that Cricut came out with. I think it was in last fall. But anyway, I'm way too practical to throw this mat out because it still really works. So I just have it really glitzy, I suppose. So I will go ahead and just place my vinyl right onto the mat and then cut this all out. Okay, loading, and then I'll press the flashing C to cut. So while that is cutting, I'm going to take a little bit of rubbing alcohol. I'm going to spray a little circular cotton swab, and then what I'll do is just prep my iPad case. Now this is a clear iPad case, so there is a case on there, but I'm just going to make sure there is no dust or fingerprints or oils on the case, and that will help the vinyl lay down much better when it's on a nice clean surface. Okay, so now I can just let that dry, and then we will be ready to apply our vinyl when that is ready to go. Okay, so that took forever and 3 days to cut, and now I just trimmed away from my roll where my design was so I can begin weeding. So what I'm going to do first is I'm going to turn my design over, and I'm going to rub down the back with my scraper. So just really pressing down into those pieces to make sure everything is placed where it needs to be while I get ready to weed. Okay, so now I can begin weeding my design. So I will just start in a corner and begin slowly peeling away all my extras. Now, because this is going to be one big piece essentially coming off, what I'm going to do is keep my scissors handy. That way, if I need to cut the pieces off, such as right here, I can just trim this off so that it doesn't fall back onto my design and ruin anything. So I just like to do that every once in a while. And I'll just go through first and foremost and focus on just getting the background weeded away. Okay, still removing the outside pieces very gently. It's actually weeding pretty well. As it was cutting, I was kind of having a little bit of a panic attack because I was wondering if this was one of those brilliant ideas that may not be so brilliant, but it's actually weeding really, really nicely. Okay, so that is the outside area, and now we can go through and just get all of the inside pieces out. So we'll just go through these leaves and all of the little floral embellishments and get them all brought to life by weeding out the insides. Does anyone else feel the need to vinyl all the things? I just love my Cricut so much that I feel like everything I look at is an opportunity to add a little fun vinyl to. Even like to the point where my kids are so used to it now that they start bringing me things that they have that aren't vinyled and ask me if I can vinyl it. I think I told you guys that in another video. If not, that video is coming up because I decorate their iPad as well because they just love that I can decorate stuff for them. So little cups and all sorts of things. They say, can you vinyl this? Okay, there we go. This is starting to come to life. This is looking really cool. This is going to look awesome on my iPad. It's going to really pop against that gold color, which is what I really wanted. I wanted something that was going to just pop really nicely. Okay, so I am just finishing up the last couple little pieces. This actually weeded really simply. Time consuming, but simple to do. The pieces came out really, really nicely, and I just thought that it actually weeded a lot better than I thought while I was watching it cut. Okay, so now we are ready to put this on some transfer tape, and I wanted to show you my iPad real quick. Okay, so the design is all ready. Now, when it comes to my iPad, I have a couple areas that I want to avoid. So I want to avoid this little camera area. There's also a little area right here that has a little notch that I want to avoid. And I potentially want to avoid this little OtterBox logo here just because it is a raised surface, so I don't want to put vinyl over that. So I was wondering how I was going to approach that, and I figured I would try using some parchment paper, and I'll show you my method and hopefully it works. So let's go ahead and put some transfer tape on here, and then we will get everything lined up so that we can make a couple cuts. Okay, so I have my clear transfer tape. This is going to be a project where clear transfer tape is definitely going to come in handy, and I just lay my design over my transfer tape so that I can get an idea for how big of a piece to trim off to use. Okay, so that is just about right. Now what I'm going to do is get my transfer tape right over my design so that I can get ready to place it. Okay, so I'm going to just take my transfer tape and expose about a couple inches of it and fold the rest behind here, just like this. Okay, and then I will take that little top part and lay it down, just like that. And then what I like to do is just grab this bottom part and pull, releasing the rest of the transfer tape right over the top, just like that. So that's an easy way to do a bigger piece. It makes it a little bit more manageable. Okay, so now I am going to use my scraper to really press into the transfer tape. That's going to allow the transfer tape and the vinyl to really meet, and then it will help bring that transfer tape, or bring the vinyl off of the transfer tape, excuse me. I like to also do the back as well. It's become part of my best practices, I suppose, because it just helps really bring that vinyl up well. Okay, now I have my iPad here ready to go, and I have my piece of parchment paper. And then what I'm going to do is, with it still flipped upside down, I'm going to gently peel away that cutting liner that the vinyl was cut on. Just very gently, just monitoring to make sure all of my design is coming up, or all of my design is lying down and nothing is coming up on that blue sheet. And that did perfect. Oh, I didn't want to say anything till the very end, but it did perfect. Okay, so now what I'm going to do is, I'm not going to lay this down on my iPad. I'm going to lay it down on the parchment paper that's on my iPad. So again, on my iPad case. So what I'm going to do is make sure my little parchment paper is right where it needs to be. I'll grab my design, and then I'm just, whoa, it wants to cling. Luckily, it's not going to stick to that. So I'm just going to lay that down. Actually, you know what I'm gonna do? I'm gonna keep that this way, and I'm going to lay this down over it. There we go. Much better method. Okay, so now what that's going to do, making sure no vinyl is exposed, because if the vinyl is exposed, it will stick down on my iPad case. So I'll turn this over. So now I have that barrier between my case and my vinyl. Okay, so now I can see through that fairly well, and I can look and locate where I need to do any trimming. So let's see here. It looks like right up here I need to do a little trimming where this leaf is. Okay, that looks really good. Okay, so I am just going to come up with my scissors, and I am just going to take one of those little leaves off and see if that allows enough room for my little camera there. Okay, it does, but it needs just a little more. So I will just cut into that leaf a little bit more and allow a little bit more room for my camera. Okay, so I'll take that piece off. Now you'll see that it has left plenty of clearance. Okay, looks good. And everything else looks good. The only other area I was telling you about, oh, actually, there was a little notch right here, but it hit right in the middle of this flower, so that is perfect. And the only other area was right here. So what I will do is I will just trim this area shorter for my little OtterBox logo. Okay. That looks good to me. Okay, so now what I can do is I can gently start to lay this down. Okay, so what I think I will do is I will take this completely off of the parchment paper, and then I will line, maybe I'll do half and half. That way it can stick down on something. Okay, let me line this up at the top here. So I will just lay that top part down, very gently with my scraper there. And then I'm just going to slowly peel away and bring down that parchment paper and allow the vinyl to meet on the case. Okay. Once again, just taking the parchment paper at the bottom, bringing it down. Okay. Okay. Deep breaths. I think I did it. Okay, so now I'm just going to take my time, and if I see anything pull up, I will just re-scrape, just like that. And go nice and slow and peel up my transfer tape. Okay, it's looking so good. I am so proud of myself. Oh, this was worth the wait in finding just the perfect design idea. And because it's on the case that's kind of raised away from the iPad, it looks so dimensional. It is so neat. Oh my goodness, I am in love with that. That looks so cool. See how it's dimensional when I move it to the side there? That is so fun. Okay, so the only thing is I think I trimmed a little too much on this little flower here. So luckily I saved all of my pieces and I have the little piece that I trimmed. And what I'm going to do is I'm just going to place that piece right back on there. That way it looks a little bit more built in. I just went a little too far with my scissors, which is just fine. That's why you keep all of your pieces. And voila, it's all fixed. Very cute. Oh my gosh, I love it. I'm so happy with that. So proud of it. Okay, I am absolutely in love with how this turned out. I think it is so pretty. Definitely me. I love it. It was worth the wait on finding the exact design that I really wanted. So I'll be sure to try and link this in the description box of the video in case you're inspired as well. It's so fun, such an easy design to use, and I think it turned out great. If you enjoyed this, please be sure to give this a thumbs up, and I will see you all in the next video.